where a student actually leaves school before receiving their diploma and graduating. I think connecting early is a big important reason. Is an important thing to do with all students, but I think it's critical that every student has someone at school that if you were to ask them, like, who do you go to when you're struggling, when things aren't going right, an adult I'm talking about. And I think it's really important that every student at least has one person at school that they feel connected to. No matter who that is, they can give them sound support, advice, whatever it is. I think sometimes, I could go in depth about this, but I won't too far. I think that sometimes maybe students don't have that. You know, they don't feel connected socially or to an adult, or that, you know, a student, this is my personal opinion, you might not find it in a research pamphlet on a shelf, but I think that a lot of times we focus on dropout at the junior or senior year level. It's salvageable, but it's damaged, really, you know, not, I don't want to say that with that big old word reprehensibly, but it's damaged to a point where it's really hard to salvage at that point, you know, credits I'm talking about, or skill set. And I think where it begins is way earlier, but if we were to just look at high school, I think it begins in the freshman year. And that's why when I sit down, like you mentioned, the Latino subgroup has a higher percentage dropout rate. And so specifically, like even this year when I'm talking to certain students that I hear, in my experience, just starting to use reasons or excuses, or I'm seeing certain signs, I really am on that in their freshman year. Because I think if we don't catch it then, and a student goofs off freshman year, skills, and as we know, high school, many of the classes build upon themselves. Even if it's like math definitely builds upon itself. You know, so if you messed up freshman year, doing math well the next year is going to be even harder because you've missed foundational, you know, components. But even other things like history, yeah, you might learn a totally new European history, or, you know, Renaissance, whatever it is, post-colonial, you know, American, but the skill set of like reading that kind of context and all that like resilient kind of skills, that builds upon itself to where you've gone from like reading a little short story to now you're reading a novel or a book or writing a 5-page instead of 1-page essay. So I think all that stuff plays into itself, and if you mess up freshman year, sophomore year just becomes much harder, and usually you mess up a little more. And then by junior year, maybe you try to stick it out. How the process in many ways can go, very subtly over a long period of time. And then boom, yeah, junior year, senior year, we see dropouts. But that's the end of the line. You know, it started way back. And so all that I just said to kind of say that I think early on in high school, having support systems in place, really reaching out, really being able to identify through data evaluation, through just like awareness, being immersed in the student body as adults, taking extra time out with underclassmen is critical, so that you can hopefully, kind of like a funnel, you can narrow down, you know, and you'll always have a few kids that resist everything, support, all that. But at least then you're down to like a handful of kids, and then you have some type of serious intervention or support program that you provide for them. But hopefully with other more informal things, you've eliminated that other stuff.
Thank you.